Wow, hello, my people. I've really missed you. Hope you're doing well. Thank you once more for joining my YouTube channel and welcome back. And if you're new here, kindly subscribe and comment and then share with your friends. And feel much welcomed in my YouTube channel. For those who are new here, my name is Deborah, and I welcome you to my YouTube channel. Actually, it has been some time. Actually, I've been very busy. I realized that I'm involving myself in so many things, and but I'm not complaining. I thank God for everything. So I came to realize that I'm involving myself into many things, and I might end up forgetting my good people in YouTube. So I'm back to say hello and just maybe to share uh, a little bit as I continue still with the story of my life. And you're much welcome. So today, what I'm going to talk about is nothing different from what I've been talking about, story of my life. And today, I'm going to talk a story of my life as a mother. So I'm going to share story of my life and my journey to motherhood and how motherhood has been and do I have a baby? Do I have children? Or so please stay tuned and watch this video up to the end so that you can know Deborah as a mother. And you're much welcome. Please comment down below and share with your friends. I know this video it might not be the way people expect, but I'm going to share my own experience as a mother because when I became a mother, I didn't have anyone to take me through motherhood. I didn't have people close to me who could tell me this is how you do it to your baby. This is having in mind that my mom stays in the up country, so I felt that I didn't want to interfere with her life to tell her mom come stay with me and then help me take care of baby. So I just let her be, and I asked God for his wisdom to guide me and to bring my baby up. So guys, you're much welcomed in this YouTube channel and this story. I know it is a touching story because I can't lie to you, my motherhood journey has not been it hasn't been that smooth, if I can say, but I really thank God because so far God has been faithful. He has given me the strength, He has given me His grace, and I thank God for His strength, actually, for the strength and His grace. God has been so faithful to me in this journey from motherhood. So, you're much welcome to hear my story, my journey to motherhood. So, if I can start, I got married in the year 2014, November 29th. That is the date that I got married. And because I'm not talking about my marriage life, I'm talking about my journey to motherhood. So I'll skip that part of marriage life and talk about my journey to motherhood because that is what this video is all about. So I got married in 2014, November 29th, and then I stayed the first year, that is 2015 and 2016, and then I got a baby in 2017 August. But now, before I became a mother of my baby, the baby I'm nursing right now, I had uh, I had two miscarriages before I got my 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 baby. My baby's name is Joshua. So before I got Joshua, I stayed for 2 years without a baby. But in those 2 years, I had two miscarriages, of which were very much discouraging and very painful experience. And I don't know why it happens that most of the people you find that they lose their first pregnancies. I don't know why this is. I don't know why it happens. I think we need to pray God so that this thing might change, because even nowadays you hear that people, I got pregnant and I miscarried my first pregnancy. So I think we need to pray God to take this away. Maybe it's something that needs to be prayed for. But so I was saying that I lost two pregnancies before I got my baby Joshua, and in those 2 years they were the most and the hardest years for me, because it is everyone's dream when you get married to have a baby. It is everyone's dream to have your child. It is, I think it is the first dream for people to, when you get married, you say, oh, within these 2 years, we are going to have our joy, bundle of joy. We are going to be having our cute baby with us. But unfortunately, it happens that some people lose their first pregnancy. So I lost my two pregnancies. And then I said that these 2 years were the most hardest years for me before I got my baby, because I went through a lot of rejection those 2 years. I went through a lot of rejection by the people that you felt like they could be there to encourage you, the people who I told them who knew what was happening to me. It turned out that some of the people that I trusted so much with my story, they ended up coming against me. And I remember the most touching story was that when I was waiting to when I got my second pregnancy, when I got the second pregnancy, I traveled up country, and then unfortunately I used a motorbike. I didn't know that I was pregnant, so I used a motorbike, and I think that is what caused mostly the miscarriage for that time. And then I shared with a friend of mine who knew about me losing my first pregnancy. So I tried to talk to a friend of mine. Actually, a person I trusted so much, a person I thought he would be there or she would be there, a friend I knew they will be there for me in whichever way. So I shared with a friend of mine whom I trusted so much. I trusted so much with the whole of my heart, and I knew that this person won't disappoint me when they got this story. So I shared with them that I lost my second pregnancy, and when I shared to them, we stayed for some time, and then I don't know what happened. We had a misunderstanding with them, and then I remember when we were talking, she tried to use the my miscarriage against me, and she told me some words which hurts me up to date. But I thank God I've forgiven them, and I've let it go, but it still hurts, my friends, because there are some words you don't expect from the people you call your friends, and they are and I believe that you share stories with friends because you trust them. And when you trust somebody and they turn out to be your enemy, it really hurts. So this person, we became we had a misunderstanding, and then I remember them telling me that you will die like a dog, you will die childless. It seems like when you was a girl you had so many abortions, and that's why you'll never even get a baby. You'll die childless. You'll die like a dog. And these words really hurt me up to date. And then I went out and told God, God, you know what? You remembered Sarah. You remembered Han. And they were of old age. I'm still young. So because I know God is not a human thing, I went on and I prayed God, and God remembered me. So um, in 2016, I conceived, and then 2017, I gave birth to my baby boy, Joshua. Uh, and then that's where the story to motherhood begins, when I got my baby Joshua. So I got Joshua when he was very much okay. I got Joshua in 2017, August. And then we brought up Joshua. I stayed with Joshua for 3 months, like any other working woman, the way they do. You stay with your baby for 3 months, and then you go back to work. So I stayed with Joshua for 3 months, and then after the third month, I went back to my work. Uh, And then my work was not so much engaging, and my boss was able to understand me. So I used to go home every lunchtime to go and nurse my baby, even after going back to work. So it was easy for me to bring my baby up. But when we were growing up, at the age of 5 months, after I've gone back to work, then I realized that my baby was not adding weight. um, and then I decided to go to change my clinic, because wherever I was going to clinic, they used to tell me the baby is okay, it's okay. But now I realized that from the 3 months I went back to work, and the fifth month my baby was not adding weight, but everything else was responding well. So I changed my clinic, and I went. Actually, even before I changed to my clinic. When I realized that my baby was not adding weight, I decided to go to Gertrude Hospital. And then when we went there, we found a good lady who served us well. And when she served us well, and then she informed me that my baby had a development issue, because he had a heart problem. He had a hole in his heart. I'm saying this because I came to realize that there are really people who are struggling with so many things in bringing their children up, and they feel that they are alone. And because God has given me the grace and the strength, I decided to share this, my experience, with some of you who are going through the same experience, or maybe difficult experiences more than what I'm going through right now. So let me share my story, and I hope you will be encouraged. So when we went there and found that my baby had a problem in a heart problem, so we asked the doctor what to do, and she guided us to another hospital where we went and took the whatever what do you call them, the scans, the heart scans. Went saw a cardiologist, and then it turned out, yes, my baby had a hole in the heart, but by God's grace, he's doing well. So don't be worried about that. So he's doing well. His heart is doing well. So it was really discouraging. And then when I went and realized that my baby had a hole in the heart, I asked the doctor what next, and then we were. It wasn't complicated issue, so we were advised that for him to add weight, we need to see a new nutritionist, so that how he can guide us on how our baby will be feeding. So we went and saw a nutritionist, and then he gave us some supplements, and after that my baby started growing well. So when the baby was growing, when he was almost 1 year, he was almost turning 1 year, when he was sitting, he was standing. Actually, by that time I was teaching him on how to walk. Now the hell happened again. So when we were in church one day, that was July 2018, my baby was almost turning 1 year that time. So we went to church one day, and when we were in church, uh, my house help then took my baby to the office to feed him for his lunch. And when the service was going on, I had my baby cried, and he cried and cried unstoppably. So I ran out of the church and went to see what was happening. When I reached where my baby was, the only thing I realized was that his stomach had started blowing up. I asked my girl, what has happened to the baby? And she told me nothing. Nothing has happened. He has just started crying from nowhere. And out of curiosity, I just took the baby. I rushed him to a nearby hospital for him to be checked. And I went, I told the doctor, I think some baby has taken something, or he has eaten something that is disturbing his stomach, because his stomach is blowing up. So the doctor tried to give some medication to the baby. But when he gave the medication, the baby did not stop crying, and nothing changed. So this is where the story got worse. And his father is a pastor, so I took I said, let's go back to church and see if his dad has finished preaching so that we can take him to at least a serious hospital. So by the time we reached the church, we found that his dad has finished preaching. Then I told him, don't even sit down. Let's rush our baby to the hospital because I think something bad is happening. So we started and we went to the hospital. We went to a more serious hospital, and I mean a more serious hospital, a good hospital. So by the time we reached the hospital, that was the worst experience in my life ever, and that was the turning point of my motherhood story. Whatever you've heard so far, it was good, but now from that day, it became like a turning point, and that's when I started now feeling like, yes, this is now really hard. And but as I've told you, I have the strength and I have the grace of God, so I'm managing. So when we were on our way to the hospital, we used Outer Ring Road, and then before we joined Outer Ring and Thika Road, my baby was like he's dead. He stretched up, he stopped breathing, his eyes were stuck, and his body became stiff. And then I hadn't experienced anything like that before since I was born. I hadn't, so I came to realize lately that it was conversions, but they were severe conversions because for me, I've never experienced anything like conversions since I was born until I got my baby. So when we were at Thika Road, my baby's body became stiff, stiff. And then we were all confused. His dad was driving the car. He almost even uh, stopped driving to pick up the baby, but he's driving. We almost also got knocked on Thika Road because everyone was confused there. And then when we reached the hospital, I asked the doctors, is my baby gone? And the doctors told me, no, he's not gone. And now the worst part was that now the doctors demanded us to put a deposit of 400,000 for our baby to be admitted in that hospital. And remember that it's on a Sunday. You know, a Sunday is a day that you cannot, because you can't go through ATM to withdraw 400,000 from your account, even if you have the money. It was on a Sunday, so there was nowhere we could get that kind of money, 400,000 at once. I tried to plead with the doctors to tell them, please allow our baby to be admitted, and tomorrow, Monday, we will try and get the money for you. But they all refused. They refused. And this is my baby lying down, is like dead. I don't even know that he has any breath in him. And I became confused, but I started interceding for my baby. I started telling God, please, God, you gave me this baby, and there is no way I'm going to bury him. So I asked God to give us a way forward. So at that point, the doctors were using the manual oxygen to try and find some oxygen in my baby's life. And it came to a point that they all gave up because there was no change in my baby's body. He was not even breathing. You could not even see any sign of life in him. So the doctors, like, they gave up because we were not able to raise 400,000 at that time, and they ignored my baby. They did not admit him until, in their own understanding, they felt that the baby was gone. So they covered my baby with that white sheet, and then that's when I realized that my baby was really gone. And the doctors left, and they left us with one nurse. I think she was an intern. So that time I took a wrench and I asked the nurse if my baby was gone. And she told me, Madam, I cannot tell you right now. Let's wait for the doctors to come back with the report and they will tell you. And that time, because God has helped me, so I asked them, Do you know any other hospital where they have ICU beds? So that I think I need to transfer my baby to another hospital. So the nurse gave me an option for Kenyatta Hospital. We called Kenyatta Hospital. Kenyatta Hospital, they said they didn't have a bed that time. And then we tried to look for another hospital, and we got another hospital in Isili. So when we called that hospital in Isili, it didn't take 5 minutes. The ambulances were there, and so we engaged the doctors in that hospital where we were, and they helped us to transfer the baby from their hospital to the ambulance. So God helped us. We went to that other hospital in Italy. And I know God had his own plan for us to go there, because even myself, before I get out of the ambulance, my baby was already in the ICU. He was already on the breathing support machine. And then I was courageous. I went and asked the doctors how my baby was going. And then they told me that his breathing it was not gone. So I thanked God for that. My baby stayed in coma for 13 good days. We were only believing in the machines because the machines were telling us the baby is breathing. But in the real sense, when you look at him, you don't see any breath in him. But God was working his way out, and I really thank God for that. So by that time, for 13 good days, my baby was not breathing. I was not seeing any sign of life in his body. And then we stayed there like wajinga too. We're just checking on the doctors, we're just checking on the machines, and we are waiting for God to do his work, because it was only him who could do that. And on the 13th day, that is when my baby turned. I saw his hand move. And I remember shouting and telling the doctors, "Oh, doctor, my baby is turning. His hand is turning." And everyone in that room was excited. And from that day, things changed. And from that day, it really became hard for us, because now we didn't know what was happening. This is our first child. We don't know what to do. We have never become parents again. We have never experienced such a thing again. But yes, here we are. We don't even know what conversions are. So from when my baby woke up, and a doctor came examining him, that is when we realized that the girl I had then had dropped the baby, but she didn't acknowledge that the baby had dropped, and he was hit on his head. So that is when the doctor told me that my baby got an injury on his head, and he fell down on the floor, and his head was hurt. And then I asked the doctor, "So what do we do?" They asked for some scans to confirm if his body was intact, and if everything on his head was intact. And then we went and did the scans. We did a lot of scans, by the way. We did a lot of tests, because this story has always been the worst for me. I never like sharing it, but I am sharing it because I've realized that I'm not going through this alone, and I've realized that so many people are going through this, and we all need encouragement, because it's not an easy journey. Because if I can't say even up to date, my baby has not really recovered totally, because from that time, him having fallen down and then the conversions,